Monstre is the massive wooden roller coaster at Ronde. This is the tallest, fastest, and longest wood coaster in all of Canada, and it infamously won the Six Flags Tournament of Thrills in 2008 as the chain's best roller coaster. So is it better than rides like X2 and El Toro? Find out in this review. Monstre was designed by William Cobb in the early 1980s. The coaster was then assembled in two phases. Track 1, which is the right side when leaving the station, was built in 1985. Track 2, which is the left side when leaving the station, was erected 1 year later in 1986. While both sides have similar elements, they are not clones or mirror images of each other. While the ride looks like it should be a racing or dueling coaster, Monstre is not operated in this manner. Each side is operated independently, and if by some chance both sides are ready to go at the same time, the dispatches are deliberately staggered. This is presumably to be more forgiving on the ride's structure. This ride has also been SPNO for a few years, but was running consistently in 2022 from what I could tell. Monstre is a commanding presence. The ride not only stands 131 feet or 40 meters tall, which is colossal for a traditional wood coaster, but the ride has a dense support structure. It is a giant mess of wood. I also really like this ride's entry sign. It's this weird werewolf werecat thing. If you're using the standby line, you select whether you'd like to experience track 1 or track 2 right after you enter the queue line. If you have the flash pass skip the line system, you are only able to experience track 2 after passing through this weird area that looks like it should be off limits to guests. If you have the flash pass, I would prioritize track 1 very early in the morning if you want both credits, especially because I think that side is slightly better. I recommend going here early because Monstre routinely is one of the longest waits, if not the worst wait at Ronde. It routinely takes an hour. Each side is a long ramp that moves at a snail's pace. The ride itself is quite long too, as it takes over 3 minutes start to finish. The restraint checks in this ride are slow, and then the ride often runs one train each side. In 2016, Track 1 weirdly had 2 trains in use, while Track 2 had just 1 train in use. This led to Track 1's line moving twice as fast, so definitely try to scout that out before hopping in line. If the ride is running just 1 train, consider it a miracle if more than 10 trains go out per hour. Monstre originally had a 7-car train from Morgan that could each seat up to 28 riders. Each side received 2 new PTC trains in 2013. Since these trains were heavier, they had to be shortened, which hurt the ride's capacity. The current trains consist of 5 cars, and each car is 2 rows of 2, so now each train can accommodate a max of 20 riders. The trains with the familiar seatbelt and individual ratcheting lap bar combination typically seen on PTCs. Per usual, I would recommend holding on to the restraint once checked, or else it will come down further during the ride's bumps and valleys. The odd thing with these trains is that they have these fins or wings on the sides. I'm guessing this is for clearance purposes, but they also have some cushy padding to provide support during sudden moments of laterals. Regardless of which side you choose, I prefer to ride this coaster up front. It offers the single best spot of airtime on the ride, and more importantly, is the smoothest row. I would advise avoiding a wheel seat or the back of a car in this coaster, unless you enjoy comically bumpy rides. Before delving into the ride experience, I need to note that I have not experienced Track 1 since 2016. I had the Flash Pass for my 2022 visit, so I only rode Track 2. I still remember how the elements on Track 1 ride, but the rough patches may have changed since then. Both sides start with a slow turn out of the station and an even slower lift hill. You do get some great views of the Jacques Cartier Bridge and Montreal towards the top though. The ride starts with a fairly shallow drop, but is extremely smooth. Want to know why? That's because it features RMC topper track. So sidebar, whenever enthusiasts say RMC cannot work in Canada, how do you explain this? Both sides then rise up into a large turnaround, nearly stalling out. Track 1 has a steep plunge that gives some airtime in the back, but the subsequent valley is the shakiest on the ride, so brace yourself. You then rise upwards and swoop downwards, getting some laterals. Track 2 reverses the order of these drops. The turnaround's initial drop is an extended swooping one, but this valley was horrific in 2022. It tried to snap your back in half. You then twist upwards and navigate a steep plunge into the structure that gives a good pop of airtime in the back. Track 2 immediately goes into the second turnaround, but Track 1 has a surprise up its sleeve, and this is the main reason I prefer to ride on this side. You have a speed hill exiting turnaround 1. This hill is shockingly tiny compared to every other element on the ride, and it delivers a great ejector pop no matter where you're sitting. It completely caught me off guard in 2016 because I rode Track 2 first. Both sides then rise into turnaround 2. If you're up front, you get a decent burst of airtime as you level off. Even those in back weakly come out of their seat. Both sides then navigate helixes, but they're profiled a bit differently. The helix on Track 2 is more exciting. It has more speed because you dip downwards sooner. Track 1's helix starts high and slow, but midway through it, you do have a sizable curve drop. Neither offer too many laterals or forces though. Both tracks end with another swooping drop. Neither gives airtime yet again. You then rise into the final turnaround, unfortunately getting no airtime. This element has two sizable curved dips on Track 1 before heading towards the brakes. On Track 2, the element undulates more as it travels along the outside of Track 1. None of the dips are particularly memorable though on either side. The ending is quirky though. Track 2 is this stupidly sharp and abrupt piece of track that turns you 90 degrees sideways. You get one heck of a lateral jolt, especially towards the front of the train. You then hit the brakes. This maneuver is less extreme in Track 1, but you still get a pinch of laterals before slowing down. Both sides have similar overall track lengths. Track 1 covers 3,996 feet, or 1,218 meters of track, while Track 2 is 30 feet or 9 meters longer. The valley midway through the first turnaround is the ride's roughest spot by far. Some of the other turns and valleys have some shuffling, particularly if you're in a wheel seat, but I found it tolerable. Le Mans' biggest deficiency is the pacing. Each turnaround seems to be a bit too tall, so the trains lose a ton of speed going into them. There are several points where it feels like you're going to stall out. This leads to the turnarounds feeling mostly like filler, and that's not a good thing because 3 giant turnarounds essentially make up the whole ride. So what would I rate Le Mans? I would give both sides of this wood coaster a 4 out of 10. This is a below average wood coaster. It's not as rough as you may suspect, but the pacing is what really drags down the experience. There are a few fun moments in there with airtime and laterals, and they sort of sneak up on you because of the weak elements surrounding them. Then it's always fun riding through the structure of a wood coaster as dense as this. It makes for some neat visuals. So should this ride be RMC'd? Oh yes please. This ride in park really needs it. I don't know if it'll ever happen or anytime soon, given the level of investment Six Flags has given the park over the past decade, but this layout would have a ton of potential, and it would have a high chance of becoming the best coaster in all of Canada. So those are my thoughts on Le Mans at Ronde. What are your thoughts on the stool track wood coaster? Which side do you prefer? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.